Good evening, everyone. I'm Alex R. Wagner, your host, and this is No News is News, where we just talk about the news or discuss the news because we should show the news, and then we show the news before we talk about the news, but the news isn't really the news, so that's why we discuss the news with No News is News. Episode 302, I believe? No, not 302, 102. 102. Getting carried away with myself tonight. Again, live show, especially on YouTube, encouraging those comments so we can have a conversation. Someone in the early chat during the clips and news media, the lead up to the show, James said, the left has been supporting ISIS ever since Obama became president. And I'm wondering, is James Comey? Is James Comey trying to start some shit on my podcast with only 11 people currently watching? Is that what's happening right now? Is James Comey in the comment section throwing some up? Also, Google and YouTube already pulled that comment, I guess because you can't say the word ISIS. I don't know. YouTube needs to calm down. Like the whole Nick Fuentes, Alex Jones, they got put back on and everything, and then they were like, "Oh, let's put our shit up." And they're like, "No, that's not how it works. It's a pilot program. You qualify if you apply this way." Blah blah. Shut the fuck up. Internet's changing. X is free. X is fucking open. Instagram, Facebook, open. These are ad platforms that are doing wildly successful, and I understand you're number one, Google. I mean, I understand you pay me. I understand you're the only one even paying me. The others are just deceiving me. But I hope that that's where we're going. I hope that we're going towards community notes for all, conversations for all. Let Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes back on the fucking platform. That's what I think. With that said, let's get to our stop story of this day. Okay? Top story of the day. Ceasefire has been shattered. Israel strikes Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. Israel warplanes and drones conducted airstrikes in southern Lebanon targeting what the IDF described as Hezbollah weapons storage facilities. This action violates the ceasefire agreement reached in November of 2024. In a defiant speech, Hezbollah's new Secretary General, Naam Qassem, declared the group will never surrender its weapons, escalating tensions in the violent region. So all those Sunday little nice pieces you heard on Sunday, what the fuck? I'm gonna have to turn on my regular light. I can't believe my light I already lost my light. That's so shameful. All right, well I'm gonna throw the. Don't worry, guys, I'm right here. I'm just throwing the ISO up so that we can see what's going on here. Also going to change the white balance since we're on this now. There you go. Hey, how you doing? Hi, how you doing? How's everybody doing? I don't know. I like using my professional lights, but I guess today they're not going to work for me. That's the second day in a row that within the first 5 minutes my light was immediately part of the conversation. So anyway, Israel, all those little slop pieces of goobity gopple that you were listening to by Mr. Netanyahu or Mr. fucking JD Vance or any of the other pro-Jew guys on Sunday about this whole like gossip hearsay. Oh, we got a big conversation coming. There's going to be this whole like, basically they were like saying there's going to be like this new, instead of the IDF or Mossad, there would be like this new like inner union thing with like Arabs as well, and they would like operate and like become like police for like all these nations. Probably because there's like thousands of different terrorist fractions in both the Islam and fucking Jewish faiths out here in the desert. People are just pissed off because it's the desert. That's the fucking point of this whole thing, is they're just pissed off because it's the desert. Who wouldn't be pissed off living in the desert? So there's that. Let's see here. Netanyahu. So Donald Trump did his speech at the UN. Then the next day, Netanyahu did his speech. And when Netanyahu did his speech, like literally 70% of the UN walks out. And you're like, all right, calm down, Mr. Wokies, whatever, right? 5 seconds in, guy is like, we eliminated these people, then we killed these people, then we got over here to Iran and we blew up their weapons. And it's basically like there's just them like covering the Middle East, nonchalantly talking to the UN about how he's getting rid of the terrorists by, just going through nation after nation. Kind of very similar to fucking Adolf Hitler, if I do say so myself. If I do say so myself, Mr. Netanyahu, you do feel very Adolf Hitler-y with your UN speech, where I'm glad the Iranian people left. That would have been awkward. Anyway, then Netanyahu did a speech after that being like, there's so much conspiracy theories online. As an older gentleman, we need to funnel a bunch of money as Jews into the internet, especially TikTok and X. So they do that. I mean, you saw part of it if you were watching the pre-show. One of their creators made a whole defense video of AIPAC being like, oh, that's one of the lobbying firms, but they only lobby 5% of all of American money. There's other lobbying firms. Yeah, but there's not other lobbying firms specifically for a different foreign nation that's not the United States of America. There isn't one of those. AIPAC is for a different nation. Like, it's not a foreign lobby. It's just a bunch of Americans, just like Netanyahu. Netanyahu is from New Jersey. Or not New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Still, same fucking shit. So it's a bunch of Americans lobbying for a country that is not ours. And I'm about tired of this argument. We should just fucking annex Israel. Because I do agree with the, creator lady, whatever. I don't know how much she's getting paid or what the deal is. I would like to get a paycheck. I love that, like, I do this show every fucking day. Nobody even calls me. Nobody's calling me being like, oh, you want to change all your values and just become like this 18-year-old kid, just like Charlie Kirk? Like, we can just Manchurian candidate your fucking ass. That shit's weird. That 18-year-old they're hyping up, like putting him on private jets and shit, Ben Shapiro and the fuck out of him. He clearly can't talk even. Like, you're the next Charlie Kirk, kid. Just go. Here's your talking points. Go. I don't like it. I think authenticity wins. I think the right understood that. I thought they understood that because that was the whole point of like Joe Rogan, Donald Trump, that interview being the reason that Donald Trump won the election. It was authenticity first. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, like authenticity first. These people are the ones that are voting with the Epstein files, remember? So when you want to laugh at those Republicans, remember those are the ones that are with Massey trying to actually get the Epstein files released. Authenticity always. And so, like, here we are, Charlie Kirk gets shot. We put some 18-year-old from fucking Iowa, and we're like, oh, he had a podcast. He is a podcast. Here's this. No, the whole thing is he had not said anything controversial yet, especially about foreign situations like Israel. Oh, this fucking kid doesn't say anything about Israel, so now we can pluck him out of Iowa in his podcast, and we can make him the new Ben Shapiro overnight, and he can do a 10 travel day tour, doing different colleges for Turning Point USA, like all this bullshit. It's disgusting because it's not authentic. At least Charlie Kirk was authentic. He was who he was. That's the same thing. Candace Owens, like authentic. Tucker Carlson, sometimes authentic. Calling out Nick Fuentes, not authentic. Fucking leaving Fox News, becoming badass #1 for journalism, authentic. Eating McDonald's in Russia, not authentic. Interviewing President Putin when no one else would, authentic. So it's like, I don't know. Tucker Carlson might be an alien, but usually you can figure it out. Usually it's either the person's authentic or they're not authentic. And if they're not authentic, get them out of here. So, like, let's stop funneling all this fucking money into non-authentic human beings. But that lady, the AIPAC lady, the fucking Israel lobbyist creator, And these people too, like the creators and stuff, whenever they're cornered into it, they're always like, they're the same way as these politicians about it, where they're like, no, I'm not paid for and bought for. No, well, they just give me advancement money, like a patron. Right, but are you asking them just like, hey, are you come to my Patreon, give me money, and whatever I say, you're funding? No, they're telling you what to say when they're giving you the funding. You know what you can't say when they're giving you that funding. And that funding is so overwhelming versus other people's funding that you have to stay on their brand because you don't have any other funding. So that's what happens with a lot of these creators. But the lady did make a good point, which is that, we should just, I guess not, because she wasn't making a good point about the lobbying. Let me pull that back up if I can. I don't know. No, I don't want to pull it back up. I'm tired of her. I don't care. She was saying something else too, because she was saying the lobbying, and then, I don't know. It's hard to make a good point when you're, the taking away of weapons. That's what it was. She was saying that Israel wanted to have its own Air Force, but that like somebody liberal, like Mr. fucking, the fucking Joe Biden of the 80s. I forgot what his name is now. Jimmy Johnson. Not Jimmy Johnson. Fucking, what the fuck's his name? Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was a liberal and like hated Israel or whatever. So he was like, no, Israel can't have fucking Air Force out there in the Middle East. You're not allowed. But if you don't build an Air Force, we'll fund you weapons. And apparently like that's so that we can keep them on a leash. And so it's like really crazy to think that Israel's in charge of us. It's a stack up over time. It was a deal. It was a deal back then, probably to garner power over them. But through the 90s, through the 2000s, through 30 years of funneled money in war, the war machine might be in control a little bit more of the war than the people that aren't involved in the war that are funding the war. I'm just saying, especially after 30 years. IDF might have a little bit more power in the situation of the transaction with the American government than the American government has with the IDF. We kind of have to sell the weapons, right? If we're ever going to get away from selling the weapons, I think that Donald Trump is probably the only president that can ever get us away from a bad deal. And I think that genuinely this motherfucker is trying to stop everything before he's fucking done. He just put out a presser and had his vice president go out and do this whole thing, a song and dance about how there's going to be some new Arab IDF for all of these nations and everything. Meanwhile, fucking Israel goes and shoots down Hezbollah, bro. Where was that at? In Lebanon. It's over. The fucking Secretary General of Hezbollah says they will never give up their weapons. That's the same kind of fucking shit as like Osama bin Laden, as Saddam Hussein. Like, this isn't ever war. This is like a to the ends of the earth thing. Today, while Trump is trying to orchestrate that there's some new peace deal in the making, that's what Mr. Jewish fucking Nazi regimist, I don't want to call him a Nazi because I don't want to like demonize him or make him like he's not human. Netanyahu is a human. He is very, very, very similar. I would say the closest human being to Adolf Hitler that has ever existed. Like, bar none. Like, I'm not trying to like be like, oh, he's a mean person. Like, he literally went on the UN and was like, look at the terrorists we got rid of, and we took over this nation and these people and these people. Are those people in the room with you when you're saying this, sir? Are those people talking to you and going, yay, thank you for liberating us? Or did they all just walk out and then you took up your fucking poster and go, well, we got rid of all the terrorists? No, you got rid of all your neighbors. That's what Adolf Hitler did. He got rid of his neighbors when he thought he was getting rid of the terrorists. You can't get rid of the terrorists if they're just neighbors. Hi. Neighbors, terrorists, all this shit. Okay, second story of the day. Are we ready, guys? Trump threatens mass firings as government shutdown looms. With just 3 days until the deadline, the U.S. government is barreling towards a shutdown. President Trump is escalating the crisis by threatening to fire rather than furlough federal workers if Democrats do not agree to his funding demands. Congressional leaders are set to meet at the White House on Monday in a last-ditch effort to avoid this ultimate shutdown. Like, look, I already went through this, I think the last 2 episodes, but definitely yesterday, making fun of the fucking whole shutdown. Like, nobody cares about a shutdown. Everyone, including myself, since birth has been like, what if we actually shut the government down? Why don't we please shut the government down? Nobody at the government seems to ever show up or want to work or do anything. They're going to have a meeting. They're having a meeting. What do you think they're doing before that meeting? Do you think they're fucking sitting there having phone calls, writing on fucking scratch paper for 8 hours, and then they go into the meeting like, oh, this is the fucking hardest meeting of my life, and then they go out of there? Or do they fucking wake up, go to the gym, do their whole day like there's some fucking independent podcaster not paid for by us, and then at like 2 or 3 p.m., go out, do some presser in front of the fucking building. We're going to go in there. We're going to tell him. We're going to show him who's fucking boss. And then they walk in there, and then they all eat fucking Chewy. Not the dog food, Chewy, like the Mexican restaurant. Or like Chili's for all the Midwesterners out there. They're all eating Chili's. They fucking order some Chili's. They got endless chips and salsa, so they're going to be there for a while. And Chuck Schumer's like, could we get some dip? And they're like, the salsa is the dip, sir. And it's like, but what about some cheese dip? And it's like, God damn, this fucking Jew. And then they just have to deal with him. And then Hakeem Jeffries, which is basically, I mean, he is Darth Maul. He is like Lord Vader. He is the one. Like, the Sith Lord is clearly, like, could there be a clearer Sith Lord than Chuck Schumer? And he just gets more Sith Lordy every day with his Sith Lordiness. And then you get, I'm the Sith Lord. I am Chuck Schumer. And then you got fucking, like, you know, the Daisy Ridley or whatever, which is essentially AOC, and she's just over there being like, I'll cut your fucking head off. I don't even know who she is. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is fucking Luke Skywalker over here, or JD Vance, Luke Skywalker over here, trying to take him down. I don't know. I don't think there is really a mortal enemy of Chuck Schumer, because Chuck Schumer's kind of just, But Hakeem Jeffries, that's a fucking weird one, because I was literally living in his district like 3 blocks away from the motherfucker when he ran. And I was like, yeah, let's go for it. And immediately he turned into an AOC type, and then he like really jumped up the ladder. I was like, wait, you're a freshman and you're 2 years in and you're now speaking for everybody just because you're black? And then Nancy Pelosi was like, yep, that's what we're going to do. And then all of a sudden he was like speaking for everybody because he was black. And then all of a sudden he like wasn't black. He like somehow his skin color like changed to not black, like halfway through like being the person that was voted in for being black. And that's the story of Hakeem Jeffries. He also sends me emails every week still being like, in our district, we take out the burr. And I'm like, you're real fucking funny. You don't even know who the fuck is living in your fucking district, bro. And you're probably still making me vote for you every election cycle. All right, whatever. You know, that is what it is. The meeting on Monday, the Monday of the meetings, the firing of the firings. I like this. I like this tit for tat business, okay? Because here's the situation, if we're being real, all right? They had 13 continuing resolutions during the Biden administration, during those 4 years. Everyone essentially knew, as now we know, because Joe Biden's photo is no longer in front of the White House lawn. It is now just a photo of the auto pen. How ridiculous is that? But we know that, you know, a lot of the situation during Biden was just kind of like, let's just roll through it. Nobody's really in charge. What are we really doing here? So continuing resolutions were the quote, like they were the base quota. Okay. So every time that the Republicans got a CR given to them by the Democrats, they're like, cool, you're in charge and you don't want to do anything. All right, we'll go along with it. So they went along with it 13 times. Okay. First time we go up Now, continuing resolutions are something that every single time you do it, now 13 times, basically you're just pressing the skip button. You're like, nah, skip my turn. We'll come back next time. They're not changing anything in government. They're just extending the money that they're already spending on everything that they're doing while they take more time to discuss, okay? They did that 13 times during Biden, and they just like let it keep going. But most of the time it was because if the Democrats were proposing to the Republicans, the Democrats were in charge, hey, let's do a CR, the Republicans were like, yeah, let's go ahead, do a CR, because they didn't think they were ever going to get anything out of the Democrats anyway. And if the Democrats don't even know what they want out of legislation and just want to continue along status quo-wise, then let's go along with status quo-wise. For 4 years, the Republicans mostly were just envisioning a Donald Trump presidency in 2024, which is what they got. The first continuing resolution earlier this year went through without a breeze, except that it left the headline, Chuck Schumer makes deal with Republicans. It left all of the crazy leftists that shoot people for no reason, you know, the transgender furry ones with the fucking gun that daddy used to own or whatever. Those people, they're all upset whenever a headline reads in New York Times, Chuck Schumer agrees to deal. They don't understand that a CR is actually a good thing when you're not in charge. A CR means that the people in charge don't know what they want to try to get out of you. They can't control out of their own constituents, and they're now just passing the buck along to continue a status quo. The problem now, though, is that the big, beautiful bill was passed in the middle of this. So while they continued the CR, they then got the big, beautiful bill in. So not only did Chuck Schumer feel like a complete fucking idiot, there was like all of the redneck transgenders that were shooting their guns off or whatever were like, excuse me, Schumer, why aren't you helping my transgender boyfriend? I can't believe you're agreeing with Trump. So you got that. And then you got the fucking big, beautiful bill lose like $1 billion, at least $1 billion. I think it was $1 trillion from Medicare. So like, we're cutting some major Democratic things here. Now we're here on this CR, and essentially the game plan by Chuck Schumer and friends is to try to orchestrate somehow for a continuing resolution not being passed to not be their fault. Because in theory, if Republicans are asking for a continuing resolution and saying in 7 weeks we'll discuss with you and we'll try to get more of your ideas out, you should want to do that. You should want to keep the government open. You should want to continue to fund the things that are still being funded and hope that in 7 weeks you can reach an agreement with Republicans. But that comes with the sour note of losing all the brownie points for not fighting them or not fighting them hard enough. Also, you're not getting as much of what you want when we already had this whole thing happened over the summer where you lost a lot of Medicare. You lost a lot of that like fucking blue brownie point shit, like the money for snaps, all that shit. You lost that. So they're hoping on that. And so their argument the whole time is, look, the Republicans have, well, we don't really have an argument here. Literally, that's kind of it. Like every time I've heard anybody that's Democrat on the air on Sunday or Saturday speak about this, they kind of walk themselves in circles about how the Republicans don't really know what they want or that they need to agree to something. But they're not front and center focused on what they want, and they also aren't able to use the very simple argument that the Republicans are using, Mike Johnson's using especially, which is if the Democrats want to shut down the government, they can, but we really hope that they won't. They're the ones doing it. We offered a clean CR. They signed 13 of these. We signed 13 of these. They just signed one 4 months ago. Now they're saying they can't. This is some funny business. And the response from Democrats is kind of like, well, yeah, it was fucking funny business. Duh. Donald Trump, though, I think he is kind of feeling a little bit of the pressure of like not wanting a government shutdown on his watch, especially now. Like, honestly, like nobody that's a politician should want a government shutdown right now because government shutdown right now could potentially lead to a cultural civil war. Because like right now we're in such a heated moment. Every time that there's a new gunfire that comes off, everybody's like, oh, was it a right one or a left one? Well, who was it? Like some fucking dad drove his Jeep into a or his truck into a Mormon church in Michigan today and blew up some shit and then shot some people, killed like I think 2 people in this Mormon church. And they found out he was like a MAGA guy or whatever, or a Trump guy or whatever. And it's just like the mainstream media is kind of sticking away from it. They're kind of letting it simmer. And that's good because they know, as well as I know, if you're in mainstream media, that the echo is actually a very dangerous thing. Mirrored echo of dangerous thought is actually how people end up doing dangerous thought. Talks of it to yourself in England led to others doing the same. It's just a cultural phenomenon. It's like a thing with being human that if you hear about bad things, you may do bad things. So it is good that that's not becoming the big story of the day on this Sunday. I'm hoping that tomorrow I don't wake up to all day tomorrow it being like, bro, this fucking guy ran into a Mormon church, but he's not MAGA. Like, I don't care if he is or if he isn't. I just don't want him to be the main story because if he is, that's more copycats. We already saw the ICE guy. We already saw him now. We don't need more people trying to get famous this way when they're feeling sad and they want to kill themselves. I think that they should just probably themselves. And we should just let them be and hope that they don't have any other victims, especially when they're terrorist individuals that are doing disgusting work like this. But, fucking A, man. So shutdown, meeting tomorrow. As I predict, they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. And if they don't figure it out, then fucking close it all fucking down. Because every day that they close down, it's like the news is so excited because they have like a fucking calendar. I remember every time the government closed down, it's like 5 days out. They're like, the government might close down. Everybody's like, yeah, we've already heard it. Like a day before, they're like, the government might close down for real. Everybody's like, yeah, And then they're like, the government closed down. Everybody's like, what happened? Like, what happened? Nothing. The government's it's closed down. What does that mean? Nothing. It doesn't mean anything. The government's closed down. And then the government just continues to close down. And every day that it closes down, more and more things about the government actually close down. And that's what the news becomes about. They're like, today, NASA astronauts were told to not come into work. Now, here's the thing with Trump. Trump was like, yo, we ain't playing this fucking calendar game where we announce the things that get closed as you slowly trickle away the government. If you close this down, Chuck Schumer, if you make me look bad and start a cultural civil war on my front, I'm fucking firing everybody. And, I mean, yeah. Is he going to do that? Because, like, it seems like if he's threatening that, it seems like, and the fact that we're doing this meeting on Monday, it seems like Trump knows that it could be a little bit of a bad thing for him to get in this fight right now. And he doesn't want to. He wants to fucking slap Mr. fucking Adolf Hitler in the face and tell him to stop bombing Hezbollah. But apparently they just can't stop doing that. So that's that. In other stories, in other news, DOJ indicts former FBI Director James Comey. Under heavy pressure from the White House, the Department of Justice has secured a grand jury indictment against former FBI Director James Comey. The two count indictment alleges he lied to Congress and obstructed a congressional proceeding. The move has sparked an outcry over the politicization of the Justice Department, with President Trump hinting that more of his political rivals could be targets next. Okay. The more you cry for James Comey, the more I'm going to press that this is an okay thing to do. And I hope that other people do the same, because it's starting to get really fucking annoying that you got away with Jimmy Kimmel. Like, you got Shane Gillis laughing about Jimmy Kimmel, and we're all like, ha, 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 jokes aside. But now we're already back in it with the being hypocritical with the James Comey shit. And we're living in a reality where Republicans are, in reality, we're going, yeah, I know, we're just putting him up on stage because he lied, and you did it to us. And then they're like, oh, so you're just doing it because you did it to us? Yeah, but isn't that what you did to us? No, Donald Trump was actually a criminal, and he actually 32, and actually, and it's just like, you can't give him an inch. You got to live in their world. You got to be like, oh no, actually, James Comey was a liar, and that does deserve to go up there, and he does deserve to get arrested. But it's like, you started it. I don't know, like, you started it. And I don't know how, like, we're still being nice, and like, people on the right are still being nice and kind the whole way through. So as long as they keep doing that, let them. You know how many people in the Trump administration think that James Comey is actually going to jail? Zero fucking people do. You know how many people in Joe Biden's administration genuinely thought that Donald Trump would be actually incarcerated? That's the difference. That's the difference. It's that it's not real. It's just it's a spanking. It's, hey, remember how you did this? Remember Steve Bannon? Remember how he had to go to prison and stuff just because of you guys? Well, James Comey, you get to come over here and we get to give you a spanking. Knock it off. Stop doing this. If you don't want us to continue to do this, then don't do it to us. But it has to end with you, because you're the ones that are actually abusing the system. We're aware, like, the Republican side is aware that it's abusing the system. It's aware of it. It's going, yeah, we know. It's a trumped up charge. But are you going to say the other ones weren't trumped up? And they're like, no, they weren't trumped. Okay, well, then I guess I got to recant that. I got to act like this isn't a trumped up charge. Because in reality, if we're living on the same planet as you, where Donald Trump did some fucking real estate tax evasion bullshit and deserves to be in prison for it, then yeah, we're living in the same reality where James Comey clearly lied in front of Congress with proof. Fox News has like a 24-hour surveillance on the dude, like with proof. And we're going to sit here and be like, he's abusing he's weaponizing that. Nobody cared when all my friends were getting debanked. Nobody cared. Now we all care. Interesting, isn't it? How James Comey and Jimmy Kimmel are getting priority treatment over, I don't know, Edward Snowden, over Shane Gillis, over Roseanne Barr, over Glenn Greenwald, over Steve Bannon. I mean, I don't know, like, what do we, but again, like, everyone's so polarized that even when you say things like this, people don't even take them to heart. I thought that when Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck, it would have been like when Owen Hart fell in fucking wrestling. That everybody on both sides was just going to go, oh, yeah, well, I mean, I didn't really hate the guy. Instead, they were like, no, we're still playing wrestling here. And I did hate him, and I'm glad he died. You is this reality then? Are you real? Are you for real? Are the liberals for real? Are they living on a for real planet? Because if they are, I thought that we were living on a fake planet with all their fucking hyperbole and bullshit. But if they really believe all of it, then we got to really, as Americans, reconstruct how we have arguments or conversations with these human beings. Got to turn the fucking goddamn stuff. Like, I can't. They're going to turn New York back into housing projects. Like, if you saw the pre-show, Mondani's like envision is like, buy up private land and turn them into communes. Good ones, though. Sir, I have about 100 American documentaries to show you and an entire catalog of the Hollywood in New York in the 1970s. Like, how are we this fucking dumb? The good thing is, though, Adams dropped out. I don't think it'll matter. I think they already chose. I think that New York and LA for that matter, they're such a stronghold with the Democratic Party that those two places, and even New York or Chicago for that matter, they hold an institutional like thing on the election. Period. The fact that like Fox News can like pump out Curtis on every channel all day long, all that they want, like they could put him in a Times Square all day, and still not even come close to a Muslim socialist running in the Democratic ticket named Mamdani, because we chose him, because they chose him, because MSNBC and Rachel Maddow and the other crazies that run New York and have brownstones on those, you know, those private brownstones that he's going to apparently buy. Those people down on the south end of Chelsea, they have decided that Mamdani is the way. And the reason I say that is because I know that Eric Adams only dropped out because he wasn't getting the Democratic funding that he was allotted as the sitting mayor of New York City. They iced him out. They chose the other guy. And then they said, you don't even get your funding. You don't even get equal funding, even though you're currently the mayor. That's how Democrats work. And the guy that they canceled, that Fox News spent way too much time canceling to even interject and be a part of their own equation, Andrew Cuomo, is now the only hope and the only choice. Sitting here, this poster that I have framed on my wall, Andrew Cuomo signed it in June 22nd of 2020, declaring that on day 111 of the pandemic, from March 1st to June 19th, was the COVID-19 pandemic, and that he fixed it. He finished it. It's done. We went from one case in March. March 1st was the first case of COVID in New York City. And then they had 18,000 people in the hospitals, almost 19,000. And when he signed this in June of 2020 so that we could all protest BLM, there were only 1,000 people in the hospitals. Somehow there was a whole other closure and everything in the fucking late fall, but, you know, everybody remember COVID only lasting 3 months? It's on my fucking wall. Might be the new New York mayor. Ridiculous. Dozens killed in Gaza as Netanyahu and Trump prepare to meet. Israel airstrikes have killed at least 44 Palestinians in Gaza amidst growing international calls for a ceasefire. The attack came just hours after Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's address to the UN. He and President Trump are scheduled to meet on Monday to discuss a potential deal to end the war. What's this whole thing with Monday, bro? And Trump likes doing things on the Monday, because remember he was saying, I don't want to wait the whole week to declare the autism stuff. So he's going to solve the Middle East tomorrow, even though they're bombing people everywhere. And then also we're going to fix the government and stop the government shutting down. My money is that he solves the Middle East before the government actually. But again, like, they're all rich assholes. They're gonna agree. They're gonna be like, you know what? I'll take your CR. And we'll wait our 7 weeks. It's gonna be like a CR, but they're gonna get like $1,000 extra in SNAP benefits, plus 1,000 SNAP benefits, like a fucking NFL trade. You get $100,000 in SNAP benefits and this CR. Let's go. I don't know. They might do it. They might not. But I think that if we're being real here, it's a 99% shot that they walk out on Monday and they go, government's open forever. More checks for everybody. And that they are like, oh, sorry, we actually still have to fight these terrorists. Then there is that they walk out and they go, we actually figured out that Hamas is going to let go of the terrorists, the hostages. We're all good now. We're going to have this new IDF, but it's like Arab and stuff, and it's pretty cool. They got some awesome Power Ranger-looking uniforms coming out, and peace in the Middle East. And then they're like, actually, though, government shut down. So until Chuck Schumer helps us out, we can't get those Power Ranger uniforms for the new IDF peacekeeper Arab guys. We were even going to bring them all to Dearborn, Michigan, and have them train. But now we can't because Chuck Schumer shut the government down. So I don't know what to tell you guys. Russia unleashes a massive attack on Kyiv. Russia has launched a massive overnight attack on the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv, involving hundreds of drones and missiles. The attack results in at least 4 deaths, and they have caused widespread damage. Okay. There's a reason it's the last story of the day. You bomb us, we bomb you. Why don't we bomb fucking Moscow? Why don't we just do it? You got all of fucking Europe, too. You know how many years... There's so many, like, that's not just one country, guys. Think about it. Yeah, every country in Europe, mostly, except for, like, Hungary, that's like, I mean, but again, just give them some money. Same thing with Turkey. Just give them some money. China and Russia are on their own fucking planets, bro. Like, we're America. We have a whole, like, sea in between us, so we don't have to worry about that shit at all. But I say, you know, hand over the nukes to the fucking EU. The EU has like a nuke team, and they give them to fucking Ukraine, and then Ukraine fucking nukes the shit out of Moscow. Just nuke them. Just fucking nuke the shit out of them, and we're done. And you're like, oh, 100,000 dead? Oh, you ready to stop the war? We did it to Japan, and it worked. I'm telling you, it'll work here. Maybe China will be like, oh, well, now we really are friends with Vladimir Putin. And North Korea's like, hey, we're going to shoot off our missiles that don't even work. Nah, if we blow up Moscow first. Just saying. Otherwise, we all just sit here in this fucking bullshit where we shoot fireworks at each other. It's kind of annoying. How did only 4 people die if there are hundreds of drones and missiles shot at the capital of the nation? Is the capital empty? There's nobody fucking there? I don't know, guys. That's all I got for you today. Remember to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and to always remember we are all Charlie Kirk as long as we are getting paid for by fucking Ben Shapiro on a private jet, and we came from Iowa and we have no opinions yet, and we got it on a fucking call card and like, say these things. He's like, I'll say these things. Liberals suck. Israel's great. AIPAC rules. Nick Fuentes, who's that? All right, guys. Have a good night. Sunday night, Monday night, Monday night, Monday night. Yeah, that's it. I didn't even feel like podcasting tonight. I was like feeling so sick. I had such a headache. I was about to just give it up. And I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I pushed through. I'm glad I took some Advil for all of you and jumped on here, because I think it's very important what I've told you all tonight. It's very important to educate yourself about, Israel and Mr. Adolf Hitler himself and his overtake of the UN, and Donald Trump. Going to solve everything on Monday. He's going to solve everything tomorrow, guys. Whole thing. Solve all of it. There's not going to be anything left to solve besides cancer after these meetings that Donald Trump has tomorrow night. Meetings on Monday. He's going to fucking fix the government, fix the Middle East, do a presser, and go, Caitlin Collins, suck these nuts.